Alright, the balance patch for September 2025 has leaked. In a previous video, I looked at the Adeptus Sororitas, the Imperial Agents, and the Death Watch for the changes that have happened to them. Those were all good changes. Not all the changes we need, but good changes. Then we move to the Genestealer Cult, and my goodness, there is penalties, and there are nerfs, and there are changes galore. There are a few good things, if we can find the good things. Relentless optimism is required to make the Ascension day come true. The host of Ascension detachment, well, we'll get to that. The first thing to talk about is the Primus. Their special rule has changed. You no longer get full rerolls to hit rolls, whether shooting or in combat. Instead, it is +1 to hit rolls. I can be okay with that. With Neophytes, there's no need to have the Neophyte stay still to try and get heavy. You're going to get that anyway. Mining lasers and seismic cannons hitting on a 4+ is good. Grenade launchers hitting on a 3+, I like it. +1 to hit is okay. And I think it does the game good to have fewer full rerolls, skewing randomness, either into average or really, really good. Bad rolls get much rarer when you have full rerolls to hit. The Primus now goes better with the demo charge acolytes than he did before, because their demo charges will now be hitting on a 4+. Nice. I'm thinking this is feeling a bit closer to the Genestealer Cult index. Nowhere near the power, but it feels a lot closer to the index. +1 to hit is a bit more unfortunate in the Xenocreed, as Frenzied Devotion improves the weapon skill of models in that unit by 1, and that takes us to hitting on a 2+ with acolytes and metamorphs. If the enemy had a -1 to hit, we could stay at that weapon scale 2+. And it's still worth using the stratagem for the extra attack, even though you get hazardous. I am aware that +1 weapon skill, as in improving the weapon skill, and +1 to hit are not the same thing and they can stack, but it doesn't matter if you're hitting on a 2 with +1 to hit, 1s will fail regardless. It is not worth taking Assassination Edict or Denunciator of Tyrants, which give a +1 to hit as bonuses, because bonuses to hit cannot stack. The maximum you can have is +1. The only way that would be relevant on a Primus is if the enemy had -1 to hit because of stealth. So unless you're fighting Kroot, this isn't a good enhancement to take on the Primus. The Primus's points have gone from 80 to 70. There's a points drop to compensate, but I think it is an insufficient points drop. A lot of their power and ability came from that full reroll to hit, in a lot of detachments, not just the Host of Ascension. And unfortunately, the Brood Brothers Auxilia, our worst performing detachment, gets another kick in the side, because Firepoint Commander for Overwatch on a 5+ was really good with a full reroll to hit Primus. That was a great combo on that detachment. That doesn't work anymore, because +1 to hit doesn't apply when firing Overwatch. You're just going to fire Overwatch on a 5+, something you could do with any character. You don't need a Primus. In the Host of Ascension, Primed and Readied as a stratagem is now 2 command points, as I predicted. This is very expected. 20 Neophytes coming from reserves, especially with a chink in their armor, and full rerolls to hit with a Primus, and sustained hits from the detachment rule, getting those critical hits on a 5+ is really strong. But this change, plus the Primus no longer having full rerolls to hit, feels like overcompensation to crush something that was not overpowerful, just strong in the current meta. The Host of Ascension did well in the meta, as the 2025 to 2026 mission deck rewards killing the enemy units to prevent them scoring points. If you go second, you can score at the end of your final turn and get a lot of points almost unopposed, unless your opponent kills enough of your units to stop you scoring well at the end. There has been a change to the way that tournaments run by Games Workshop are going to operate. Challenger cards are no longer going to be used. But you still want to kill the enemy to stop them scoring victory points, and the Host of Ascension is the killy detachment. We still have a lot of combos. I don't think this is a dead detachment, but you may want to have a unit of acolytes on your home objective. They can try and generate some extra command points so that you are compensated for the increase in Primed and Readied. Also a bigger consideration, if you're already doing that, is the Nexus. Have them in the same unit as the Primus, then Primed and Readied goes back to 1 command point. My thoughts for the meta were that if Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights had enough of a penalty, then we would see the Host of Ascension left alone. It was a detachment for the meta, very good at countering the armies of big things and wiping out a knight in one go. A mostly dead knight is not a dead knight. Being able to overkill a knight was very important. Against a stat check army, do you have enough to take me down? Yes being the answer in the host of Ascension, that may not be the case anymore. And after the Imperial Knight Codex has been seen, I think we can recognize that the Knight meta will continue, and we Genestealer Cult players are in a weaker state to counter it. Return to the Shadows is another stratagem that has changed. It is worse, or at least different. It has gone very plain and basic. You don't need to get shot to use it, it is the standard up and down at the end of the opponent's fight phase. We lose the ability to get shot by one enemy unit and disappear off the board before another one shoots, like one Tau unit hits and before the Friendship Express can kick in with the second unit, the Neophytes or whichever infantry unit is gone. Now, the name and the ability of this stratagem would not be out of place in the new Raven Guard detachment. Oh look, there it is. Same stratagem, different name. I am more annoyed at the lost flavour than anything else. What we have now is a bit closer to the Genestealer Cult Index, but with one unit instead of two. And as in the Index, the Nexus could be making a comeback. Pop up and shoot an enemy unit. At the end of the opponent's turn, disappear off the board. If you go second, the Nexus's unit attacks happened in one battle round, and Return to the Shadows happened in another, so the Nexus's ability can be used for both. It's not all over. This is not the end, it is just another part of the great struggle. If you had another 40 Neophytes to paint up, I would still paint them up, and I would paint them up with brushes from Golden Maple. As a part of this terrible balance patch, I can offer you 15% off in these trying times. Use the link in the description, and at the checkout, use code Vtuber to get that discount. Outside the host of Ascension, we're seeing a few other changes to stratagems. This is good. It's not everything I ever wanted, but it's a something. So along shadowed trails in the Outlander Claw for Jackal Bikers, and Evasive Vanguard in the Biosanctic Broodsurge for Pure Strains, those stratagems have been made more generic. So any Cult Ambush token moves 6 inches, and there doesn't need to be a specific unit that comes from it. That's a minor fix so that you can still rapid ingress to a location. Except it's not rapid ingress, it's like rapid ingress, it's Cult Ambush in its current form. This is probably the best we're going to get for these stratagems, a minor fix to keep up with the balance patches that happened 6 months ago. But finally, the utterly pointless downtrodden rise has improved. No longer is it something you use when you've lost all your Cult Ambush markers to have certain units arrive from the board edge, because in the current Cult Ambush, we can just arrive from Deep Strike with Acolytes, Metamorphs, or Neophytes. Now, this is still an expensive stratagem at 2 command points, but you are effectively rapid ingressing from a board edge and can be 6 inches from an enemy unit. You're not doing it on your turn as a 6-inch Deep Strike to then charge from it. This is your opponent's turn. But it's great for Metamorphs with auto pistols, because if they are shot, they surge move 6 inches. Then they are immediately in combat. As you are not the active player, it's not your turn, you get to pick a unit to fight first. Oh, I think I'll pick these Metamorphs. I like that. Okay, let's run down the point changes. Many of these are good, not all of them. Okay, let's go. The Primus, we know, is 70 points now, down from 80. The Abominant is 85 points now, down from 95. That is good news for big Hammer Lady enjoyers, especially in, like, the final day. That may be the new meta detachment. And the Biosanctic Broodsurge. That one very much likes having lots of Abominants. The Aberrants that go with them have had a change in their Resurgence points. 5 Aberrants used to cost 5 Resurgence points, now they cost 4 Resurgence points. A much more viable number, as that is the equivalent of like 10 Acolytes or 10 Metamorphs. Good. Aberrants got a bit more usable. Now then, the Ridge Runner. It is 95 points for 1, up from 85 points. The cost for a squad of 2 remains the same. This may be the biggest nerf, because if you mess with the Ridge Runner, you mess with the faction as a whole. This is bad for the Brood Brothers Auxilia, for the Xenocreed congregation, for Final Day. These are used in all of the detachments to provide crossfire so that whether you're shooting or engaging in combat, you can attack with 1 more armor penetration. Very, very important. Penalties on this unit are going to affect all of our detachments and how much Genestealer Cult get played on the table. This is the equivalent of losing an enhancement, just to keep your Ridge Runners around. And we know the enhancements are really important for the Genestealer Cult. I would like 2 extra resurgence points in the Xenocreed congregation. I would still like a chink in their armor. So I know people are well aware of the changes to the Host of Ascension, but don't forget the Ridge Runner, a change that may be more impactful. The Jackal Bikers in the previous balance patch went down by 5 points to be the same points as 5 Pure Strain Genestealers. That was really nice to have 5 for 75 points, because I ended up using a unit of 5 Jackals instead of a unit of 5 Pure Strain Genestealers, and then their resurgence points were the same. That was good. 5 Jackal Bikers is up to 85 points from 75. And with the points for a squad of 5 up, it's back to Pure Strains for me. The squad of 10 Outlander Jackals remains at 150 points if you wanted to have something extra powerful in, say, the Outlander Claw. There your Outlander Jackals are so much better than in any other detachment. But thankfully 5 Outlander Jackals stays at 2 resurgence points from the June balance patch. So I have good reason to take 5 more Pure Strains. I also have a good reason to take even more Pure Strain Genestealers than that. In a lot of detachments, especially Biosanctic Broodsurge and Final Day, I play 10 Pure Strains with a Patriarch and it's great. 10 Pure Strains is down from 150 points to 140 points, while the unit of 5 is unchanged. Metamorphs have a bonus to their points, 70 for 5, which is down from a cost of 80 points for 5, and 140 points for 10 is a 20 point drop. Now they are on par with Acolytes with Hand Flamers. So if I want a unit of 5, I'll have Acolytes with Hand Flamers. If I want a unit of 10, I'll take Metamorphs. That is very good for Metamorphs. Aside from a different special rule, they are Acolytes that can scout and have a 5+ feel no pain, with the improved option of having versatile combat weapons. We can smash through 1 wound enemies, or punch into Space Marines with our Metamorph mutation strike attacks. There is no points change for the Magos. There are no fixes to the Benefictus. But if we look over to the Imperial Guard points, there is something for the Brood Brothers. It is not all bad. Big tanks like the Baneblade and the Shadow Sword are 30 points cheaper. The Rogel Dawn is up 10 points. Krieg Combat Engineers have dropped 10 points for a squad of 5. But none of the stratagems in this detachment have improved. And the Primus losing full rerolls to hit takes away one of the great combos of this detachment. Final Day is looking really good for competitive play. A Neurolictor is down by 10 points. The Morlock is down by 10 points. While the big beasties are not that competitive in Final Day's tournament scene, the Neurolictor is a lone operative and they are very popular because they can remain in the midboard, not get shot while the rest of your army is keeping the enemy in their deployment zone, and they can continue to complete missions. So if that's the way the meta is headed, why don't we take a look at how to play the Final Day? And this has recommendations for all of the valid Tyranid units that you can take. Do not be disheartened, the Star Children will come. Have a great day of 40k.